You ever see a picture of a place that just doesn't look real? Like a building that seems to be floating on water? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about Japan's incredible Itsukushima Shrine, a place where faith, nature, and just stunning architecture all come together.
Yeah, this is the shot. You've probably seen it before, right? This giant, bright red gate just standing there in the middle of the sea. It's got to be one of the most famous sites in all of Japan. It's just this perfect symbol of beauty and, something bigger than us.
I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. But you have to wonder, why? Why on earth would you build an entire shrine on the water? That seems like a whole lot of extra work. There has to be a pretty amazing reason, right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out. All right, so first things first, let's get the big question out of the way. How is it floating? Is it magic? Well, not exactly. It's more like a really, really clever illusion, courtesy of Mother Nature. So here's the secret. On the left, at high tide, it looks like it's hovering. But wait a few hours, the tide goes out, and boom, you see the truth. Those massive legs are planted right on the ocean floor. So it's not actually floating at all. The whole effect is just this beautiful dance with the tides of the Shinto Inland Sea, happening every single day. And that gate, it's a huge deal. It's called a Torii. And if you're not familiar, a Torii is basically a gateway in the Shinto faith. When you walk through one, you're symbolically leaving the normal, everyday world behind and stepping into a sacred place. So this floating gate, it's literally the front door from the sea into the realm of the gods. How cool is that? Okay, so the tide explains how it looks like it's floating. But that still doesn't answer the big question. Why build it in the water in the first place? To get that, we need to dig into the beliefs behind the shrine. And this is where it gets really interesting. Here's the key, the absolute heart of the story. The shrine isn't just on a pretty island. The entire island of Itsukushima is considered a god, a deity. And once you know that, everything else starts to make sense. I mean, you can't just go tromping around and building stuff on a god, right? They took this so seriously. For a long, long time, regular people couldn't even set foot on the island. And to keep it pure, there were some super strict rules. No one was allowed to be born there, and no one was allowed to die there. If you were really sick or about to have a baby, you had to leave. To this day, you can't be buried on the island. It's that sacred. So, you see the problem. How do you let people come and worship the island god without them actually touching the god island? And here's the brilliant solution. You don't build on it, you build over it. You build the whole shrine on piers out in the water. People could sail in by boat, go through that Torii gate, and visit the shrine, all without ever stepping on the sacred ground. It's genius! Now, there's been some kind of shrine here for a super long time, since way back in the 6th century. But the incredible, sprawling complex we see today, that was really the vision of one single person, a very powerful, very ambitious guy. So you can see the history here, but the year you really need to remember is 1168. That's when this warlord, Taira no Kiyomori, came along and poured a ton of money into rebuilding the shrine into the grand version we recognize now. And the story goes, his reason for doing it came from a dream. Apparently, an old monk appeared to him and promised he'd become the ruler of Japan, but there was a catch. He had to build an amazing shrine right here on this island to honor the gods. But was it really just about a dream? Maybe, but let's be real. Kiyomori was no fool. He was a powerful military leader, and he controlled the super important sea trade routes that went right past this island. Building the shrine was a brilliant move. Sure, it showed he was religious, but it was also a massive flex. It was a giant floating billboard saying, "Look how rich and powerful I am," to every single ship that sailed by. So yeah, this wasn't just about prayer. It was about making a statement. And you can totally see that in the architecture. Kiyomori didn't just build a place of worship. He built a palace on the sea. The style he used is called Shindinzukuri. Now, that's the fancy term, but basically, it was the style used to build the huge, fancy homes of the super rich nobles back in the day. Picture a big main building with these long, covered hallways stretching out, all designed to blend in with the gardens and scenery. And that is exactly what you're looking at here, just on the water. The main buildings, those long corridors, even performance stages, it's all built on piers above the bay. He literally took the blueprint for a fancy palace and plopped it right down on the ocean. An incredible palace on the sea.
But this place isn't just a pretty, static building. It's a living, breathing place. And its connection to the sea comes alive every single year in this amazing ancient festival.
It's called the Kangen-sai Festival. And guess who started it? Yep, Taira no Kiyomori again. He basically took the fancy boat parties the emperor and his court used to have and turned it into a religious festival. The whole point was to entertain the gods of the shrine.
It's this really beautiful event. It all starts with ceremonies in the shrine itself. Then, as the sun goes down, they bring the spirits of the gods out, put them on a special boat, and lead a whole parade of boats around the bay. You've got lanterns lighting the way and musicians playing this ancient court music. It's all for the gods. It's just amazing. It's a tradition that's still alive, bringing that 12th century vibe right into the present day. It's a direct connection all the way back to Kiyomori and his vision of a grand palace on the sea. And then, when night falls, the whole place just transforms. It gets this quiet, magical feeling. It really makes you think about all the centuries of belief and history that it represents.
So when you put it all together, it's just incredible. It starts with a simple trick of the tides, but it's built on this deep spiritual respect for nature. It's fueled by a warlord's ambition and kept alive by a festival that's centuries old. Itsukushima is so much more than just a pretty building. It's this perfect blend of human ideas, art, and the natural world. It's been around for so long, surviving storms and everything else. And it makes you think, doesn't it? In our own changing world, how do we make sure a place this special, this perfect balance of human creation and the powerful sea, survives for another 1,000 years?